Hello everyone, and uh-oh, I am turning the wrong way. Let me just fucking fix that real quick. And boom, there we go. Welcome back to the DINO RUN podcast. Now, it's been probably like less than a month since I last did one of these, and I thought it was about time I did another one. A couple days ago I did a lovely little video called 1 month later, and if you haven't seen it then that's okay, it's not the end of the world, but in that video I accidentally reminded myself that I haven't done one of these in a little bit, which is why I'm here, to chat for a tiny little while. Just something you guys can have on in the background if you really do like the sound of my voice somehow. But yeah, we're just back on DINO RUN. Oh, I suck ass apparently now. In the last one, I think I got like 1,300 or something. I got really high. Last episode, I managed to get like a new high score. My last high score was like just over 1,000, so I was pretty psyched for beating my record. You know, it'd be good if I actually kept a note of what my current record is, so that I have a target to beat it in the next episode. But I'm not organised like that. This is very impromptu. But I thought I would just sit down and chat and just hang out a bit. So I was, in my 1 month later video, I talked about how I have been making videos on this channel nearly daily since creating it, and that was initially the intention, was starting the channel and then making videos every day for a whole year, and then when the channel anniversary happens, I can quit if I want to. I've done the goal of making a video every day, which obviously didn't happen exactly how I planned. Like, I did miss a few days, but I made up for that by uploading twice and then eventually 3 times a day, leading up to the the 1 year anniversary of the channel, which is how I somehow managed to pull through and managed to get that magical number 365 videos on my channel, you know, the day, you know, on the dot, the day before the 1 year anniversary of the channel, which I'm very pleased about. It was something that I can't believe I actually managed to do. I mean, the whole one video every day type thing was difficult in and of itself, but the fact that in the last month I did 2 and sometimes 3 videos a day in that last month just to catch up was I don't know how I did that. Like, the whole 1 year thing is weird enough, but the fact that I did a 1 month where I did sometimes 2-3 videos a day is towards the end was just so, I don't know how I survived. I did it here as well, most of them here, just so I could catch up to the 365 videos thing target that I went for. So somehow I managed it. I mean, it did lead to having a few throwaway videos, like the pickle clicker video is definitely a throwaway. But you know, you win some, you lose some. You're going to get some stinkers here and there, but the fact of the matter is I did my target, and then the anniversary came around, the 1 year, and I said, fuck it, I'm going to keep doing it for a little while longer. Haven't got a target of how far I'm going to go. I'm not going to do a whole another year of uploading daily, which is why I've missed a few days here and there since the channel anniversary. And I've said in the 1 month later video that I'm not going to apologise for that, because I'm not, because I never promised that I'd post daily after the year was up. But every video getting post the 1 year anniversary is kind of just bonus, really. My motto and what I live by, really, when it comes to anything that I make creatively, is that I'm going to continue to do it, and I'm going to continue to grind on it until I don't want to anymore, or until I lose the drive to do so. And so far, Zachalist is something that I'm still finding motivation to do, and still finding the passion to do, because one thing that I did not expect with this channel is to actually boost my creativity. This is probably something I've already touched on briefly in other videos, but I do want to expand on it a bit more. I am a film person. This is the most personal I've probably gotten on this channel thus far, but I'm a film person. I'm a filmmaker, film student, whatever you want to call me, aspiring filmmaker, young filmmaker. And I've been making video stuff for a long time, a really long time, as long as I've been able to pick up a camera and press record. And for the last 2 years, especially during COVID, when I had to be locked down and I couldn't make anything creatively, like short films or films in general, or documentaries, anything like that, any videos at all, I got into a very big creative rut. And I didn't realise at the time how big of a detriment to my creativity lockdown was until about halfway through the lifespan of Zacklist, and I'll expand on that point in a second. Also, if you can hear sirens outside my window, it's because I live in a rough neighbourhood, yo. Yeah, I was in a serious creative rut, which, like I say, kicked off when COVID happened, like the first lockdown back in like April, March of 2020. Really started to kick in when I realised that I have no inspiration because I'm cooped up in one room for so long, and the motivation to do so is also dwindling because of fatigue and everything of, you know, creating stuff for so long. Like, I'm not even saying this in like a, oh look at me, I'm special, but I am a very creative person. To a fault, though. This isn't like me going, oh, look at me, I'm so fucking talented and creative. No. My creativity is almost a burden at times. Like, often, like, day-to-day tasks get interrupted by deep thought of thinking, oh, imagine if I made this into a video, or, oh, imagine if I wrote this down as a script, or, oh, I've got to quickly get out my phone, write a few lines of dialogue that I found funny that I can put into a short film at some point in the future. It's just a mess of ideas up in my brain, and it's so difficult to get any semblance of order to any of it. But needless to say, I'm a creative person. But lockdown went and happened in 2020, right in the rows of 2020, and COVID happened, and I lost the motivation to make stuff. I was still thinking of creative stuff to do, here and there, but it was much less frequent than I would previously think of ideas, and because of that, I felt a bit, you know, disheartened to even try. And then obviously me not having the equipment or the resources to make any of my films or ideas a reality, being stuck in one building because of a lockdown, that also contributed to my fatigue of wanting to do anything creatively. And then the first lockdown happened, and I thought, okay, time to make some stuff. I'm like, well, shit, I've barely got any ideas that I want to make now because it's been so long, you know, in lockdown. And so yeah, but eventually I started to weasel my way out that rut, kind of. I did think of some cool ideas and of stuff, creativity that I was quite proud of around that time. But then, I don't know what that was. I'm just not paying attention to the game anymore. I mean, that's not what this podcast is about, is it? It's about just me talking to the camera, talking about utter garbo. But yeah, and then there was a second lockdown in the UK. If anyone from the US is watching this, there was a second lockdown in I want to say October, November time of 2020, which lasted all the way through November, December, and then all of Christmas and New Year's. And it wasn't till mid-February where I was allowed to go out and you know, do the rule of 6 thing and all that stuff, and stay 6 feet apart and that sort of stuff. So after that, I completely lost any drive to do anything, really. I mean, I was just kind of going through the motions. I was a husk. I did barely anything besides just the bare minimum to stay as a functioning human being. And it was around this time where I was also doing university. And so let me rewind a bit, because I think the university does have a bigger part to play in my fatigue of creativity than I'm giving it credit for. My first year of uni took place, and it was a film course that I took, and that uni wasn't very helpful in blossoming my creative spark of filmmaking. In fact, it dampened it. It kind of was a mood killer, and it really kind of disheartened me from wanting to do it for a various number of reasons that I won't get into today. But a mixture of my peers, the stuff that I was able to do on the course was also very limited. Also the location that I was at was just a big melting pot of just bad things to happen, you know, that led to my creativity just being like the whole time. And then obviously COVID hit halfway through that academic year, which wasn't fun. And then I went back to that course, oddly enough, which was a stupid decision because we're in the midst of COVID, but I did it, and one of the worst decisions I made in my life, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, I did the second year of uni on that course, and obviously most of it was an online course, where, as you can imagine, a film course online isn't going to be very interactive, isn't going to be very practical, isn't going to be very hands-on or very creative, because you're doing it from the computer screen of your own home, because you're not allowed to see people or talk to people or touch people inappropriately or appropriately. So no filmmaking for me, no you know, people to spitball ideas against and see what they think. So it was a rough time. And so around I think it was like November, December time of 2020. Like, actually, it might have been Halloween actually of 2020. I'm not sure, but it was like right near the start. It was like just after the first month and a half of my second year of uni. This was before the second lockdown, by the way. And this is a bit of like emotional sharing, whatever, that I'm not used to doing in videos, but I may as well because it suits the story of the podcast, and we're getting a bit deep anyway. I broke down into tears. There was just this random revelation in my head where I realised I am not happy. I am not happy where I am in life. I'm not happy with the choices I've made with the university I went to, or, you know, the people I've become friends with there, or anything like that. And I genuinely broke down into tears, and I went to my mum and I told her that. And so she was like, well, let's fucking get you out of here then. And I said, well, I've started this academic year now. It would be a shame to waste the uni loan that we've invested in, which that's a whole different can of worms that we could open another day about, you know, university loans and how, you know, how much of a rip-off that whole scheme is. But so me and Mum had agreement that if I still wasn't happy with my uni course after, I think we agreed January, late January. If I still wasn't happy with the uni course by late January, we can apply to transfer out, or take, like, not a gap year, I think they called it a study break year or something, or study leave. So whatever it was, we said we'd do that, and we'd apply for it, and if they wouldn't let me leave, we just fucking would not come back, and we wouldn't tell them. And the whole process that it takes to transfer out of uni is, that was a high score, that is very, very difficult, and I can get into that another day probably. But yeah, and so obviously, spoiler alert, I wasn't happy come January of 2021, because that was lockdown numero dos. So what can you do? But yeah, that got very, very deep, very, very fast. But the moral of the story here, or the point I was getting to at the end of this story about creativity, is later in 2021, after I made the choice to leave uni and not study film there. Thank God I did, because I'm so much happier now. I made the decision in the summer to, I don't know who I was on like a late night walk, or an early morning walk with a friend. I made a long talk about motivation and also creativity, and how I want to push myself creatively. I want to step out of my comfort zone and do something different. And so I looked to YouTube and I made a new channel, and it was called Zachalist. We didn't have a title for the time at the time, but yeah, that's what we said. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do this. I'm going to push myself. It'll be my project, and I'm going to do a video every single day for a whole year. Not even, and I said this to them as well. I'm not. YouTube is only a vessel for which I can carry out this project of doing this. Like, I don't want numbers or views to get in the way of that. My goal is to post every day, and if the channel takes off, great. But when it gets to the end of the year, if the channel is successful and I'm not happy with how it is, I can stop, as long as I finish the year. And I did stop, and the channel didn't blow up, which is a blessing, to be honest, because like I said, I would have let views get in the way, and I'm glad that it didn't, to be honest. And it was about halfway through the channel's lifespan, or the first year lifespan, where it was I can't remember when about it was. Well, I mean, I started Zachalist, like, I think it was November 16th, November 15th of 2021 when I started it. So it wasn't till around, I can't remember what video it was in particular, but there was a video I was editing where I had this revelation where I said, this is I'm just enjoying making something and not caring about it being the best thing in the world, because I'm a perfectionist at heart. If something isn't perfect, I just either chuck it in the bin or shove it at the back of my brain and don't think about it. But this channel forced me, because I was uploading every single day, to have the mindset of, doesn't matter if the video is crap, it's a video that I can put out on a day of the year. It's one of 365 that I will need to upload this year, otherwise I will not finish the challenge, therefore it needs to be done. And I very quickly fell into that mindset, and it was around the time that I thought that mindset, I was also editing a video that I really enjoyed. I can't remember what it was. I'll have to look back and have on the timeline of the channel, all these people moving about outside, and really have a think about when that was, what video it was in particular that I was editing. But yeah, I had that revelation, and once I'd had that revelation, I'd realised, well, shit, this is really healthy. Because after I thought that, I thought, shit, pushing myself, like really pushing myself to actually do something that I am not used to doing as frequently is, oh my god, it was such a surreal experience, because I'm like, I'm enjoying this, but this is stressful because I'm making sure that I'm uploading every day, which is obviously not an easy task for anyone, let alone one man. I'm just one guy, and I did this. I don't know what point I had to all this story, to be honest. I guess what I'm trying to say is that Zachalist kind of revitalized my creativity in general, because it pushed me. So I think the moral of this is, oh bloody hell, I've been filming 18 minutes. This has been a long one. The moral of the story, I think, is if you're feeling like you're going through the motions a bit, maybe try something new, / push yourself out of your comfort zone, even if it's something that you're used to. Push yourself a bit more, because sometimes that negative force can be a motivator. So yeah, there you go. That was a very, very profound podcast. Very, very deep, actually. This one's been fun, but also nerve-wracking to post, because it's a lot of emotions that I've just vented out in the video. This has become like a venting thing, hasn't it, this podcast? Yeah, thank you for coming to my therapy session and being my therapist. My silent therapist. No, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is a little piece of my mind about how I am and how Zachalist feels to me right now. I'm going to keep making videos, as I've said so many times at this point, until I don't want to anymore. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now. Bloody hell, that was deep. Don't even know if I'm going to post that one. That one was so deep. Madness. Anyway.